Hello and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I make videos about living with a 40-item wardrobe, as well as some home decluttering, and I've decided to make an entire series dedicated to decluttering challenges and how to overcome them, starting with the very first hurdle that many people face, which is just getting started with a decluttering journey. For many, it can be difficult to know where to start or to make time for decluttering, and if you've never done it before, starting this journey can be really overwhelming. So today I want to share some tips to help you get going. Now, the first things I want to talk about are motivations and goals. So the number one thing people say that prevents them from decluttering is that they don't have time. Now, I kind of immediately automatically don't believe that, because humans are notoriously good at making time for some ridiculous things whenever that's what we want to do. Now, I'll talk about actual time in a little bit. That can be a factor, but I think what might actually be the culprit in a lot of cases is a lack of motivation. Now, when I'm not really motivated to do something, I like to take a step back and think about the outcomes and create some goals for that vision that I want to achieve. So before you even get started with decluttering, take a moment to consider why you want to declutter in the first place. Are your goals largely aesthetic? Do you just have so much stuff in your house that you can't really enjoy your space? Or will decluttering help you to clean and maintain your home a lot easier? That's a really big goal for me. Or do you have a lot of emotional attachment to objects and just sort of letting those go would really free you of that? No matter what your goals are, name them and then burn a picture of the outcome that you want to see in the back of your mind. And that'll not only help you get started, but that's something you can reference all along the way to stay motivated. The next thing I suggest is to declutter one small space first. Now, that could be a sock drawer or your medicine cabinet or a closet or whatever it is. Just choose something that's small and bite-sized and manageable and something that you're going to see all the time to really prove to yourself that you can declutter and that your entire house could be that way with the right attention. Now, there are, of course, tons of different decluttering methods that you can follow. KonMariing is the big one, and I'm really an advocate of KonMariing as well, but if you have a messy home, then KonMariing in the beginning can make your house almost messier because you have a messy home and you're doing things like gathering all items of a particular category into a space that's already messy, and that can be really disheartening. So even though I think that's a really valuable method, I think it can be useful to declutter a small space first, just so you can have that extra dose of motivation and know that your entire house can really be like that. The next thing I advise is to budget your time. Now, if you want to buy an expensive purse, you save your money here and there until you have enough money to make that purchase. And decluttering your home is no different. If you want to fully declutter your house, you're going to have to budget your time in order to accomplish that. Now, if you have an untraditional job and maybe more unstructured time, then great, but most of us are not going to be able to fully declutter our space or our home without budgeting out that time. So whether you designate a few Saturdays in a month or a couple of months, or you set aside 5 minutes here and there, make sure you are intentionally setting aside enough time to get it done. I have something else to say about time, and I've mentioned this before in replies to many of your comments, but now might be a good opportunity to share it with everyone. And it's thinking about when you want to achieve your goals. And I don't mean sort of putting on a calendar like October 12th of this year, I want to have reached all of my decluttering goals. I mean, you could do that, but that's not what I'm talking about. So what I mean by that is that it's taken me a while to realize that I have a particular vision of what I want my house to be. And in order to achieve that, I have to get rid of stuff. I have to find time to get rid of the stuff, and I have to make the difficult decisions, potentially difficult decisions, to get rid of the stuff. Now, I can either do that now and reach the goal of the home that I want for myself a lot sooner, or I can keep making excuses and keep not making time and put off those difficult decisions. And then maybe one day I will get around to actually doing those things a few years down the road and have the house of my dreams, or I can just do all those things now and enjoy the house that I want for myself starting now and enjoy it for those other years instead of living with all sorts of crap that I don't want. So if making time and sort of fear of dealing with potentially difficult decisions is holding you back, think about when you want to achieve your goals. My next suggestion is to do the 30-day minimalism game, or play the 30-day minimalism game. I don't like that name, 30-day minimalism challenge. That's a good place to start for people who have difficulty getting started. Now, of course, there are tons of methods out there, but I think this one is great if you find it difficult to declutter your house, make time to declutter your house, and really get started. So the general premise of the game is that on day 1 of the 30-day minimalism game, you get rid of 1 item. On day 2, you get rid of 2 items, and you keep going throughout the 30 days, eventually getting rid of 30 items on day 30. Now, I can't remember what that all tallied up equals, but it's 400 and change items. So by the end of the 30 days, you will have given your house a significant once over. And I think that that challenge is really good because it ramps up in difficulty over time. You're starting with 1 item, 2 items, 3 items. And then by the end of the challenge, you're thinking about your possessions in a much different way. Now, I've made an entire video on this whenever I did this challenge for 31 days a few months ago, so I'll link that down below in case you're interested in seeing what I did, but I really recommend it, and I think it's a great way to get started if you have trouble getting started. The last thing I want to recommend if you're just getting started is to create a go zone or designate a donation zone. So if you're first getting started, it's all the more important to get items that you want to recycle or donate or just generally get out of your house. Get those out of your house as soon as possible to keep them from creeping back into the corners of your house. Now, what I like to do is take items that I'm going to donate and put them immediately in the trunk of my car, or you could have a box or some other container by your front door just to make it that much easier to take those items out of your house and keep them out of your house. So that'll not only prevent them from creeping back in, but it'll also let you enjoy the fruits of your labor a lot sooner. And that can be really motivating for anyone, but I think it's especially important when you're just getting started. All right, those are all of the tips that I wanted to share with you today, and I really hope they come in handy if you thought about decluttering, but you just sort of haven't gotten around to it. I think that there are few people on this planet who wouldn't benefit from decluttering their possessions. I'm really glad I did. So if you haven't taken the leap, but you think you could benefit from it, I really hope these tips help you get started. As always, you can follow me on Instagram. I will leave that linked down below. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is the first of what I hope will be a series of decluttering challenges videos. And I don't think I'm going to make just decluttering challenges videos until I've sort of extinguished all of the challenges that I can envision. I'll probably make other videos interspersed throughout those, but I will create a playlist, and whenever I make other videos on decluttering challenges and how to overcome them, I'll link all of those to that playlist. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.